Hello, Aries people, and welcome to this 2018 year ahead forecast. It's my first time doing content like this, but I thought that I definitely needed to because 2018 is feeling like such a transformative, incredible, phenomenal year for so many people. So I wanted to come on and speak a little bit more about the energy that I have felt coming in. Like most astrologers, I tend to feel that New Year energy comes around March 21st, not on January 1st. Again, January 1st is Capricorn time, a very solidifying structuring energy, whereas March 21st is the restarting of the zodiac wheel, back at the beginning, back at Aries. So I feel that during that equinox time is when we really step into the energy of 2018. And for Aries, that energy is very incredible. Major life changes coming in for Aries. And that is because our outer planets are really hitting you hard, Aries. We have Uranus, which will be changing sign into Taurus, but it is still in Aries quite a bit for this year. We have Pluto in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn, hitting you by that strong 90-degree square angle. And then we have, obviously, the inner planets will be circulating through your sign during your time of the year, which will be that March 21st through April 21st time. So really preparing to come into a new waking up period. I feel like Aries has been in a bit of a daze, really feeling drowned out by some of that Neptune and Pisces energy, but I feel that with the activation of your solar energy coming in March and April, it will feel like you're really waking up. As you Aries are the sign of the beginning, you represent solar energy and like solar plexus energy, you represent the beginning, you represent the catalyst energy. So I sense like an extreme empowerment coming in, especially since Uranus is in its last little bit of Aries, going direct retrograding up into Taurus and coming back into Aries one last time. You're going to be feeling like a different person, and then you're going to start feeling like your old self, then you're going to feel like a different person. Basically a retrograde of your personal experience is on the forefront, but I don't feel that this has to be as hard as it has been before. I do feel that with the Uranus retrograde, many Aries have felt very volatile, right? Because Uranus is that volatile up and down sort of manic depressive type of energy, especially manic. It's less depressive than it is manic. It just swings and sways up and down. So it's definitely time for Aries to be able to wrap their head around that. It's time to be able to see how you're sort of swinging up and down, hot and cold, black and white, lots of contrast. See what people and what experiences in your life have been activating this extreme sense of contrast, this extreme sense of polarity, and through that understand why you react based on that trigger or based on that experience. It's an incredible time with Jupiter and Scorpio for Aries to be able to understand their complexes as people. This can be hard for Aries because, again, you're the first sign of the zodiac, the youngest sign of the zodiac. For that reason, the deep psychological, intellectual spheres of your mind, depending on your chart, can be more difficult to access. Of course, if you have like a major like moon in Cancer in the 8th house or something, that's not going to be the case. But generally at the Aries part of your archetype, it's not so much about delving deep into psychological concepts or deep psychological experiences, but you kind of have to in 2018. So for those of you who do have some of those deeper placements, I feel that this will be easier. And then for those of you who again have more like fire air energy, it can feel uncomfortable but at the same time liberating. So as some of you may have seen if you've seen some of the other readings that I did in this format, I'm trying to come forward with 4 concepts and 4 points that I feel to be the energy of 2018 for you. So for Aries, the first thing that I came up with was finding the last spark. So again, Uranus in Aries has been very much like a catalyzing spark type of experience, sort of like the match lighting and meeting the fuse. So I feel that for Aries, there are a lot of explosions that need to happen in your life, a lot of almost like dynamite type of experiences, but I feel that it's fine to hard the match. It's hard to find the match, and it's hard to light the match to the fuse. So I feel that one of the most important things to do is find your spark again here in the beginning of 2018, in the beginning of like April, the ending of March. Find where your energy is originating from. Find where the flame comes from, because again, you're a fire sign, cardinal fire energy. You have to be able to progress forward and maintain your fire, because that can be another issue with Aries, especially with Uranus having done what it's done. You can kind of be like blazing flames, and then you can kind of be like burnt out and be very like drowned feeling. And I feel that that's because you may not know where the spark is coming from in the first place. But even if it feels overwhelming right now to find that, it should start to open up for you. Like, again, I feel after March 21st, after the equinox, you start to be able to find where the spark is coming from. And that feels to be the most important thing of your 2018, is to understand what gives you catalysion, to understand what gives you motivation, intention, and solar plexus energy. The second thing that I'm feeling really strongly for Aries is forming a healthier relationship with spontaneity. This sort of does deal, again, with finding that last spark. But, again, having Mars and Sagittarius like we've had, going into Capricorn, meeting up with Saturn and Pluto, squaring you, 90-degree angle. It can feel like very spontaneous experiences, sudden desires to completely change your life. And probably over the last 7 or 8 years, honestly, you've probably been dealing with that. Different forms of spontaneity, desires for adventure, and all of this is very good. It even feels like there can be like a new adventure to start. Coming into 2018, there can be like a trip around the world, or even if you're not technically going to different locations, like your philosophies as a person, your concepts, and your core feelings about life seem to be becoming more cultured or more worldly. So, how does spontaneity play into that? It's not a good time for Aries to be too solidified in their belief systems, although you kind of have to be too. It's about finding this integration, right? Because Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn squaring your energy, there's a need to like solidify and structure who you are, while at the same time embracing the sort of Mars-Uranus archetype of having flexibility there. I feel that it's so important for Aries to distinguish between flexibility and volatility. That's huge for you guys, because with Uranus there, you can sort of think, okay, I'm just being flexible, I'm going with the flow, when in reality you're like going all over the place and not finding any kind of stability. Okay, it's important to seek what stability means to you, you know, because we will be having Uranus traveling up into Taurus, which is sort of like, I don't know, it's kind of volatile in its way, but it's Uranus in an earth sign, and then having like Saturn, Pluto, and Mars for a bit here in Capricorn. There's so much earth stable energy. So understanding stability versus spontaneity in your own experience, and sort of seeing how your spark as a person, your motivations as a person add up to that. I feel that writing it out, or actually having something tangible to make of like what you've wanted to be, who you've wanted to be, where you've been, how you got there, can be very eye-opening, because I think that Aries is like very sentient right now. All of your desires, all of your experiences of a person are kind of coming from your emotional receptors, and may not even be quite registering in the conscious, like material world. So it feels that by writing it out, you can understand a bit more about what it is that you're actually on about right now. The next concept that I outlined for Aries was embracing possibilities for something real. I feel that that's been one of the most discouraging things for Aries through 2017, was things not feeling real. I want to say disillusioned perceptions of reality were prevalent for Aries in 2017. So things that sort of hit your motivations, things that you wanted to do, goals that you wanted to achieve, aspirations that you sort of keyed into, became something that was not quite tangible, or became something that was a little bit like illusionary for a lot of Aries, and something that it's like once you wanted it, once you were planning it out, it was great, but then when you were actually there, it wasn't what you expected it to be. So dealing with that self-sabotage in a way, but also self-disillusionment, where you're not really being honest with what you actually want. Again, when these things are not tangible, when they're not real, they seem different than they are when they become real. That's something that you guys are figuring out and getting to the bottom of in 2018. I don't see many Aries still struggling with this, and it feels that it comes through like actually accepting that it's possible to have a real version of your desires and motivations that are coming from within. I think that Aries is very discouraged from the sense of seeing that when things become real or actually manifested, it's not actually what you wanted. And I think that the reason that that's happening is because there's almost like a reflex within Aries at a very deep level of like, I can't have what I want, but I can still powerfully produce. It's like most Aries know that they can get what they want, but the problem is that once it's there, it loses its effect sometimes. So it's like getting down to those like hardwired codes within yourself, and seeing that I can sort of like put the blue wire in with the red wire and make this all a little bit more calibrated. I can understand what it is that I want, and I can allow myself to think that it's possible to manifest this in a real way. Okay, so, and then the last concept that I wrote down for Aries was pretty simple, but just letting go of unnecessary rubble. I think a lot of this confusion or general angst about what it is that you are, what it is that you want to be, Aries, is coming from having just a lot of rods in the fire. It's not a matter of lack of commitment, because I feel that you commit very well to things once you get on the path. But I think that sometimes when you have so many things out there and you commit to one thing, the other things start to get upset. Like it can be inanimate things, but it can also be relationships as well. Basically, everyone wants your attention, Aries. Everyone wants a little bit of your eccentricities right now, with Uranus having been in your sign for so long, and sort of doing its last encore in your sign. Like, everyone's kind of giving you an encore, but it's like when someone's on the stage and there's like thousands of people giving them an encore, they can't be for everyone what everyone wants them to be specifically. Only a few people can really be satisfied. So try to not please everyone. Try to understand, again, by clicking the last thing that we were talking about, like embracing possibilities that things can be real and what you want them to be. Capitalize on that and realize that that's kind of all that matters, is that you have something real, that you have something that you can tap into. So being able to cut ties with what no longer is going to give you something is important. Like, what projects will you never do anything with? What relationships are no longer serving you? What locations or possessions, like even real possessions that you have, don't work anymore. Because, and that's that Saturn-Pluto energy coming from that square in Capricorn. Like, a lot of things can build up. Like, a hoarding can happen, too many objects. There can be like a complexes, like shopping addictions, because like you don't feel like you have enough of something, so you want to buy like a lot of objects, and they start to like stack up in a room or something, and then you no longer enter the room, and like 10 years passes and it becomes this big thing. And it sort of gets to the very bottom of your emotional complexes. That's sort of that like Pluto and Saturn energy together. Definitely let go of what you no longer need. It feels like a good time to like sell property, or a good time to sell a lot of things, honestly, like having yard sales or selling things on Craigslist, things that you don't need anymore, even just donating things to charity. I feel that this gives you so much, and you do a lot of karmic cleansing through that. And so that you can build new structures. Your card of the year, Aries, that I drew was 3 of Pentacles. So this is a building and structuring year. And sometimes, in order to build a solid foundation, you have to take everything off of it. If there's something wrong with your foundation, it doesn't always make sense to like fix the roof. Sometimes you've got to get down to the foundation, fix that, then build the walls, and then the roof. So in order to get to your foundation, what needs to be taken off the floor? Aries, it's a very foundational year. Although a lot can be built very quickly. Uranus, all the outer planets during their last moments of being in a sign, because they take so long, tend to give a lot during the last moments. Especially if you've been able to own up, especially if you've been able to see what you did right, what you did wrong, and been able to capitalize on your fulfillment as a person, being able to see the lesson, being able to partake in the lesson. Usually you'll get a lot. So you might like donate a lot of things to charity, or you might sell your house and downsize or something, and then get the promotion, or then start the business that you've always wanted to do. It's like the universe is reaching out, I feel, halfway to Aries and sort of helping you, sort of collaborating, I want to say, with you. But you also have to be able to reach out halfway too, and that can be the hard thing, because some signs can sort of have the universe reach all the way out and sort of change their reality in a sudden way. Whereas Aries, I do feel, has to meet the universe halfway for sure this year. Some Aries, if you can't if you get too discouraged, or you just accept that, you're just going to live where you live now forever and never really be able to change anything, if that feels uncomfortable to you, that feels like it can become very possible. It's a strong year for self-fulfilling prophecies, but also if you sort of affirm to yourself, okay, this isn't where I want to be, I'm going to start learning the lesson, I'm going to start making changes, and I'm going to see myself, dot 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 wherever it is that you individually want to see yourself, it's very easy to actually make that happen. It's just however you're affirming your reality, you basically can manifest that quite easily, but it goes either way, you know what I mean? So anyway, Aries, I've so enjoyed giving you this 2018 year ahead reading. If you want to see the companion write-up that I did, you can click the center of your screen right now. It basically details month by month with a tarot card for each month. Transits for each month. I think it's wonderful. I think it's very helpful. Be sure to check that out. And anyway, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would so appreciate that. Like, comments, subscribe. And I will be seeing you guys soon. Much love. Bye.